So,
how are you?
Good.
The pieces for your starting rotation are there. You talked about that luxury.
Mm-hmm.
How about order and sequencing? How much of that is to be determined in spring training? How much of that do you have nailed down? And then obviously,
you're talking about the pitching order.
Yeah, pitching order, and then opening day.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a relatively short period of time. I mean, you could almost look at what had happened last year and make your own guesses. 1 through 5, man, we're going to be pretty firm. I mean, 1 through 5 is capable of 10-plus wins again. They're all capable of 200 innings or so, although Jeremy we got to watch based on what his workload was like this previous season. But this whole group, it's a talented group, variety of pitches, good command, defend their positions well, control running games well, all these little things that we really pay a lot of attention to. So I'll be ready to do that shortly. I'm not ready to say anything about that right now. But just think about the 5 names, and when you eventually stack them up, you kind of like it. You kind of like 1 through 5, and it comes back. It's a good batting order, and we're very fortunate. And that's why when you talk about this season compared to last season, putting another flag up there, I was watching. We were doing some work today down in the field, and I looked back and I saw our little flags up over the awning there. I thought that was fantastic. 2008 twice, and then 2010. I want to put up some flags, and it's the kind of pitching staff that can put up some flags.
Joe, last year, obviously, you can go back and look at the strength, as versatility, and perhaps the depth of this team. But you lose a Carlos, Jason Bartlett. Are you going in looking at trying to replace those with everyday players? Are you kind of looking at maybe having a rotation, because you did rotate a lot of players in and out and change the lineup?
Yeah, that's part of the Ray way right there. That's another thing I was talking about in regards to another way. That's just who we are. People seem to be concerned or upset with the rotation of players, which I really find fascinating. When we put a team together, we do that where we get complementary kind of players, guys that can maybe share responsibilities or a position, and you're going to still see some of that. No question, you're going to see some of that this year. And we do a lot of work regarding how we line up, how we set up versus a starting pitcher or pitchers for an entire series. So I would like to. I'm here to say that you're going to see a lot of what you had seen in the past, and it's by design. That's who we are, and that's the way that we do participate in the major leagues and the American League. And after all, it's been kind of successful the last couple of years. The new guys, of course, the later additions of John and Manny presented different options, different looks in regard. If they were not here talking about the batting order and the position playing would be a lot different than with them here. That's commonsensical. So with those guys here, having to figure out who's going to play where, days off, righty, lefty. Days off are going to be a big thing for those guys also, really trying to maintain their leg strength throughout the entire season. So they provided a lot of other options for us, but you're going to see a lot of what you've seen, and that's the Rays' way of doing things. There's going to be some platooning. There's going to be different lineups because that's who we are.
Both for Joe and Andrew, you traded an all-star caliber shortstop. This is Reed Brignac's big opportunity to step forward. What do you see in him that made you comfortable to go ahead and make that move?
Well, one thing is that we've talked about a lot before I get into the specifics of Reed, is that for a small revenue team, depth is a difficult thing to maintain. You want to, and you'd like to, but to be able to address other areas, it's not always the easiest thing to do. And so, we think very highly of Jason. We also think very highly of Reed. A very, very good defender who's definitely got the makings of a good major league hitter. He's got some adjustments he needs to make, like most young hitters, and things that excuse me, he needs to do to get consistent. But the makeup is outstanding. He's a great competitor and a great teammate who is driven to play in October. And obviously he doesn't have the track record and hasn't had the same opportunities as other guys that have logged numerous years in the big leagues, but he's got all the makings, both intangible and on the tangible front, that make him a good candidate to be a really good player.
His makeup is outstanding. He proved that to me a couple years ago. The first time I saw him in a game was in Yankee Stadium, and little conversation on the mound about the 7th or 8th inning. He comes in from shortstop, totally in control of his emotions, very lucid, able to talk to him, very much at ease. And at that moment, I think I even talked to Andrew post-game that day saying, listen, this guy definitely has the makeup to be this kind of a player. And then furthermore, if you talk to Reed, Reed has felt he's belonged here ever since he's arrived as a Ray. When every time we had to send him back out, that was a tough conversation. Even though there was a Jason Bartlett maybe in front of him, even though he knew he had a lot of things to work on, he was always disappointed when we sent him back to the minor leagues, and I kind of liked that. So you're talking about a guy with an absolute major league makeup. He absolutely believes he belongs here, and for those, and beyond that, he's very good. The skills, he's a real good shortstop. He's got as good a hands as anybody in the league. You watch his throwing; his arm is as accurate as anybody. He's always in the chest area with the first baseman. He moves well laterally. He's not the fastest guy, but his range is very good, and he's very heady out there. So he's got all these absolute positive components to his game. Now, when he learns to be a little bit more disciplined at the plate, then you're going to see all of the offense come to bear. And is it going to happen quickly? I'm not sure exactly when that's going to happen, but it will. He's going to be a very complete player.
Joe, obviously there's a lot of changes on the field in the specifics of who's going to pitch, who's going to hit, who's going to play where. Right. But one of the things some of the players have noted today, how important is the difference in the chemistry, and how key will the spring be to kind of, if it gets rebuilt or reworked or remixed? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I'm really definitely aware of all of that, and it's to well, first of all, having, like I said, a couple of veterans, John and Manny, and then you got Kyle coming on in, or Joel Peralta. Nobody even talks about Joel. Joel's been around a while, and he's done a lot of really good things. And of course, we got some young guys within the group that definitely know the Rays' way of doing things. I'm talking about David. I'm talking about Evan, specifically, BJ. These guys know exactly what's expected of them here. So I want to believe that there's going to be a nice little blend where there's certain guys that are going to have to, or not have to, but I think they're going to be more apt to take more of a responsibility. And want to. I think we have guys that aren't going to run away from that responsibility. But you're right, chemistry I'm big on. We're going to do our best to really. I was just talking today to the coaches this morning about accelerating a lot of the learning process, whether it's building team chemistry, whether it's getting our base running back up to speed or even better than it was last year. Where you look at a team batting average of less than 250 and all the runs that we scored. Really maintenance of the defense, all these little things and we're doing it with new people, or a lot of new people. So I want to attempt to accelerate this as much as we can. How? It's just a ton of communication. I mean, that's the best way. It's going to be simple communication, daily, attention to detail. Those kind of things, to me, are what we really have to glom onto right now and really pay attention to get all of this moving along more quickly.
To follow up, is how important, because of the way you guys do build your team, is the chemistry of these guys?
Well, I mean, again, a lot of, I think, what we're about is, I think we drip with intangibles when we're working on all cylinders. I think the intangible component where everybody buys into this method or style of play, and that's a big part of our success. Again, we're not going to go out there and spend an exorbitant amount of money on one or two free agents, but we get really good athletic young players primarily, and we mix it with some nice veterans, but we have to play our style of baseball. We have to all buy into, we have to believe in it. I'm talking every last coach on the major league staff down to the minor league staff, and every player in that room's got to believe this is the right way to do things. And when you do that, then all of a sudden team becomes a little bit more a prominent term within the group. So that's who we are. We will never run away from that. I love being that way. So in spite of losing people, yes, we have to re-educate others. But I think, again, always talking about the core group, I really believe the core group gets it. And I'm really relying on them to spread the word among the newcomers regarding this is how we do things here. This is what I always wanted to see happen since the day we arrived. And I think we're at that point now where you walk into our clubhouse from another situation, you realize quickly this is how we do things here. And that would be the Rays' way of doing things. So I think I'm really comfortable with the idea of the young bucks that are coming up right now. I think that they're going to be able to handle that load and pass the word.
Andrew, you were talking earlier about the reasons for optimism and having pieces in place. Does a lot of that stem from the age, the talent, the cost certainty of this starting rotation?
Yeah, I think the starting rotation is certainly, a big part of our optimism. And, excuse me, not only that, they've been a big part of our past success. When you look back at 2008, 2009, and 2010, the fact that they made as many starts as they did, that our starters have been healthy for the most part, I think speaks volumes about their makeup and their work ethic and their competitiveness, as well as our training staff. And so it's everything to us. I mean, we don't have the resources to go out on the market and sign the Cliff Lee. And so for us, we need to have depth 1 through 5 and very capable starters that can pitch innings, can get swings and misses, and we've got 5 guys that are all really, really capable, and that's extremely important for us in this division. It's rare, and I think again, our training staff, I think, doesn't get enough credit for it. They're as good as it gets, and it also comes back to our starters and who they are and how driven they are to succeed. And I don't think any of them take where they are for granted and work hard each and every day. And it's a great thing for our young starters who are in their first major league camp or first or second to point to our group, not just one guy, to our group, and say, watch the way they prepare, watch the way they go about their work, and try to emulate it.